Nasaan na yung kaluluwa ng mga gumagawa nito? Senate President Soto I filed Senate Resolution number 475, later co-authored by almost all the members of this present Senate.
Ready.
After a number of Philhealth officials, both incumbent or recently resigned, sought our intervention to help them drain the swamp, as American politicians would love to say when they see the need to root out corruption. And for good reason. Philhealth is a murky, stinking swamp that many of its good and well-meaning people, from officials to the rank-and-file employees, want drained, not just of some corrupt but well-entrenched officials who do not seem to run out of malevolent schemes to enrich themselves, but of a deeply rooted mafia-like syndicate that controls the resources of the corporation and habitually manipulate its financial records, that even the Commission on Audit seems helpless in the conduct of the regular audit. If we look closely enough, the story revolves around the same cast of characters, a circle of high-ranking officials who manage to hug their seats despite change of leadership and detailed anomalies that we have already unearthed in the past. Allow me to remind you, distinguished colleagues, Attorney Rodolfo Jojo de Rosario, now Senior Vice President of Legal Sector, had been involved in a myriad of issues as the signatory of the obvious conflict of interest in the lease contract between the Duque-owned Educational and Medical Development Corporation, or EMDC, and Philhealth for the latter's office building in Region 1. Likewise, as the OIC of the IT Management Department, when the multi-million Philhealth premium contributions of Accenture Incorporated were allegedly plundered in 2012, and the two successive zero performance ratings of the Governance Commission for GOCC in the legal sector. Dr. Israel Vargas, the Senior Vice President for Health Finance Policy Sector, and Corporate Secretary Jonathan Mangawang, who steered the allegations of Philhealth Board's grave abuse of discretion by reversing the Court of Appeals' final and executory judgment of Perpetual Soccer Hospital's 3-month suspension and 10,000 peso fine. Dr. Vargas also turned a blind eye on the notorious and untenable policy called All Case Rate, or ACR payment scheme of Philhealth, which caused Philhealth massive losses to overpayment and fraud. Mr. Dennis Mas, Senior Vice President for Management Services Sector, was charged by the Ombudsman for his involvement in the POEA fake receipt scam. Mr. Mas also deliberately failed to disclose the undesirable record of the 5 recently promoted Philhealth personnel, despite their involvement in big-time scams. Just for the last 5 years, Mr. President, 2014 to 2018, as the 2019 report is not yet available on the COA website, I would like to share with you, my distinguished colleagues, the following. As of December 31, 2018, disallowances, 6.64 billion pesos. As of December 31, 2017, disallowances, 6.12 billion pesos. As of December 31, 2016, disallowances, 5.08 billion pesos. As of December 31, 2015, disallowances, 5.02 billion pesos. As of December 31, 2014, disallowances, 3.98 billion pesos. Notice Philhealth's recurring pattern of violations of auditing rules in terms of suspensions, disallowances, and charges. Today, even in the middle of a global pandemic, Philhealth continues to face a train of anomalies, this time involving 3 major issues that we are tackling today. 1, Philhealth's overpriced information and communications technology equipment. 2, manipulation of Philhealth's financial statements. And 3, the highly irregular implementation of advance payments to healthcare institutions through the interim reimbursement mechanism policy, among other corrupt practices. We dare ask, why would maternity care package providers and freestanding dialysis centers which do not even cater to COVID-19 patients receive COVID-19 advance payments from Philhealth. There, you can see it, 226 million pesos released to freestanding dialysis centers and 4.7 million pesos released to maternity care package providers. To cite an example, 5 branches of a private freestanding dialysis center named Brown Abitum Dialysis Center Manila recently received a total of 45.176 million pesos in a span of only a few days. Meanwhile, Hospital ng Maynila, a public hospital, despite multiple appeals, has yet to receive its Philhealth Fund reimbursement of a mere 19 million pesos. Suffice it to say, Mr. President, this is the reason why we are gathered here yet again to conduct this inquiry, not only in aid of legislation, but more importantly, in aid of the more than 104 million members and dependents of the Philhealth, as well as all the taxpayers of this country. A renowned American author, Henry David Thoreau, once wrote, "There are 1,000 hacking at the branches of evil to one striking at the root." That is why we're grateful to people like Philhealth board member Alejandro Alcabading, former HEA to the Philhealth President Colonel Etrobal Laborte, and former anti-fraud officer Attorney Thorson Keith, who are with us today, albeit virtually. We vow to help them hack the branches and most compellingly strike at the root of the evil that besets Philhealth. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to address my questions to Board Member Al Kabading. In your letter to PCEO Morales, dated May 19, 2020, I will quote a portion of your letter. You said, "You repeatedly endorsed the IT proposal, not even waiting for the internal audit report ordered by the board." So my question is, can you state before this body yung instances where President and CEO Morales endorsed this allegedly flawed IT budget proposal? May mga instances ba na siya yung nagtutulak nito? Board Member Kabading? Baka naka-mute.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, what can you mention before this body kung ano yung instances when PCO Morales repeatedly endorsed this apparently flawed IT proposal, yung budget?
Yeah, aside from the very yung clear na talaga na nandun yung dokumentong endorse is during the April 23, 2020 regular board meeting. Ang amount pina-endorse niya, mayroon siyang naka-attach na endorsement doon, 750 million. Pero actually, sa record, hindi 750 million eh. Yung hiningi niya ay 776 million. Pero to begin with, December pa lang, dapat kasi kung mag-present ka man ng budget na ganyan, dapat titingnan mo muna ito bago mo isalang sa amin. On last December 15, we were giving him the benefit of the doubt. Sabi ko, ano ba to? Hindi ba dapat tinitingnan ito bago isalang sa amin? Ano mangyayari sa atin dyan pagka pinirmahan natin yan? Anyway, pangalawa niyan ay May something, May 9, because April 23, May 9. Dinagdagan na naman ng 216. Sabi ko, dito na nagkaroon ng heated argument because why are you are trying to set aside the internal audit report pagkatapos ngayon sasabihin mo na unahin mo na yung 216 just because the internal audit report does not mention the item of the 216 million? Yun po, Mr. Senator.
And I understand there's also a letter coming from PCO Morales addressed to the board. Would you confirm this, General Morales? I think this is dated. This is about the board meeting held last May 14, 2020. Sumulat po kayo sa board at you acknowledge the fact that there were apparent irregularities in the budget proposal ng IT.
May I see a copy of this letter, Senator, please, is this...
Yes. Yes, there is a copy plus on the board. Merong portion dyan na ina-acknowledge ninyo na meron talagang apparent irregularities in the IT budget proposal. Shouldn't that be reason enough para itigil na yung pag-endorse ng budget for the IT as PCO? And instead, order investigation or further inquiry as to the proposal, budget proposal.
Can I have a legible copy of this letter, Senator, so that I can...
But this is your letter to the board, eh?
I have many letters to the board.
No, this is dated 15 May 2020. Paki-zoom mo nga yung paki-highlight yung portion that I just mentioned. Ito, I take particular issue with the proceedings of yesterday's regular board meeting when it was suggested that an IT-related proposal contained provisions that would be disadvantageous to the corporation. So, in-acknowledge ninyo na merong issue. No? Since all submissions to the board are supposed to have management's imprimatur, by extension, management at its head, the PCO was complicit. Parang nagdududa pa kayo, bakit nagbibintangan nyo ba kung complicit dito?
Yes, sir, I confirm this was my letter, but it was not to the board. It was to the individual board members.
Yeah, ganun din yon.
Yes, because in the exchange of that board meeting, it was suggested by some members of the board that management was submitting flawed documents for approval to the board. That is the issue that I took up with the individual board members, not the entire board. I sent this
Well,
individually.
how many board members did you address the letter? Not all the board members. Because marami naman mga ex-officio like the representatives ng DOLE,
Opo.
different agencies.
Opo.
So ang nire-refer niyong board, yung mga regular members ng board like sina Dr. Susi, di ba?
Opo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nakatanggap kayo ng letter. So
Yes,
ang
sir.
tanong ko, since in-acknowledge naman ninyo na merong issue do sa budget proposal sa IT, di ba dapat hold na muna yun? Pero meron pang subsequent endorsements from 2.1 billion that was rejected by the board. Pumasok pa yung magkano yung 750. And then meron pang 328. Bakit persistent pa rin yung and at what point I would like to ask Dr. Mercado to confirm or deny this. Na at one point nung pinasok yung 328 dahil ang sinabi ninyo at least si Ms. Argona, magkukulaps yung IT system pag hindi nyo in-approve. Because ang na-approve lamang yung yung motion ni Mr. Cabading na 25 million. And then subsequently, there was a supplemental budget, 328, na ang sinabi ng ninyo sa board, I was referring to Ms. Argona, magkukulaps yung IT system. So si Dr. Mercado, nakapag-comment na para naman yatang binablockmail na itong board. Would you confirm that, Dr. Susi?
Thank you very much, Senator Lacson. Ang nangyari po kasi dito, noong nilabas pa po, unang nilabas yung budget, katulad po nung sinabi ni board member Al Cabading noong December, kulang po ng justification. Hindi po namin masikmura na ipapasa namin ang budget na yon dahil hindi po ma-explica ng mabuti kung saan pupunta yung pera. Malaking pera po 2.1 billion. At ako po bilang public health panelist po ng Philhealth, excited po ako na may ganong kalaking pera para sa information technology dahil sa ko po sa baba, sa grassroots level, tumutulong po ako sa ibang mga LGU at sa ibang mga opisina. Nakikita ko na yung pong information technology system po natin ay talagang 20 years behind po tayo. Wala po tayong mga laptop, wala pong mga gamit, hindi po kabit-kabit ang mga sistema. So kung ikaw po ay isang pasyente, palaging bago ang record mo. No? So sabi ko magandang pagkakataon nito. Nagulat lang ako na nung humingi na kami ng mga explanation tungkol sa ano ang paggastos ng 2.1 billion na napakalaking pera nga, ay lagi pong hindi tama ang hindi sapat ang naisasagot. Ngayon, ang ginawa po, hindi ko pa matiyak kung yung audit committee or yung finance committee nagpagawa po ng audit, yung pong internal audit na nasa inyo. Nung ito po ay papag-usapan na sa board, ano po, dinelay po. So nagtataka po kami kung bakit hindi ito priority. Sa halip na pag-usapan yung audit report para kwentas klaras, maayos natin, ang nangyari ay humihingi pa sila ng pera ulit.
Supplemental.
Yes. So ang sinabi po sa amin noon, nung unang panahon na yon, nung mga March, ay kung hindi po, meron po silang mga hindi natapos na kontrata noong 2019 na kung hindi po maaaprubahan ang budget ng supplemental budget, ay titiklop po ang IT system ng Philhealth. So ang board po, ang pakiramdam pag hindi namin inaprubahan itong 328 million from the 2019 budget, na dapat nagastos na nila yun, uulit na naman daw sila ng bidding process. So ito po ay inilapit sa DBM at sinabing pwedeng mag-supplemental budget. So meron pong na-release na pondo para dun sa isang project ng 2019. Iba po yun sa 2.1 billion na hinihingi for 2020. So ang nangyari po dyan, nung itong mga panahon na to, medyo mainit na po ang usapin namin sa board kasi frustrated po kami na hindi po tinatalakay yung audit report. Sa halip, ibang pinag-uusapan. At bukod pa doon, humingi pa ng karagdagang pondo. So, yun po ang frustration namin sa board.
So, Ms. Aragona, bakit ayaw niyong itakil yung audit report? Importante yon before the board would approve the budget proposal. Kasi hindi sila mag-approve, pwede sila sumabit. So, kindly explain or respond to the statement made by Al-Kabading and Dr. Asusi.
Yung decision about not to tackle the audit, it was not from me, sir, during the time not to tackle
So,
the
sino?
audit report.
Sino?
I think it was
Corsec.
Opo, sir.
Corsec Mangawang. Yeah.
Good morning, Mr.
Yeah.
President and all other members of the Senate. Actually, there was a letter from the Office of the Chair requesting that the IAG report, which was in the agenda, be referred first to the Audit Committee as a matter of protocol before elevating it to the board. And the Audit Committee agreed to have an audit committee the following week after May 14, prior to presentation to the board.
Yeah, sige. President Morales, would you acknowledge na merong kang duda na pwede may irregularity talaga dito sa budget proposal?
No, sir. I don't think there
Yung
was
sa 2.1 billion?
I think it was a matter of explaining fully to the members of the board the details of the IT system. Because information system is very complicated and
I know, but let's just simplify matters, Kasi pag nag-usap tayo ng IT, information technology, medyo matatagalan tayo. Hindi natin masyado maintindihan. Anyway, this is not the first time na merong anomalya sa procurement. Case in point, yung last year, yung previous year's procurement of network switches, 74.3 million pesos. Ito yung 24 network switches. Ito yung COA report. Ito, procured ito. Ang sabi ng COA, 24 network switches were verified not utilized and found inside its box at the time of inspection at various selected PROs, etc., etc. Non-utilization. And then, here we are, this was procured, 74.3 million, 24 network switches. Kinumpute namin ito, lumalabas, nasa mga, 74 million divided by 24. That's an easy computation. And then, nagpo-procure na naman kayo yung 2019 Philhealth procurement. Network switches, 15 units Cisco Catalyst switches. Ang contract price, 4.8 million pesos. Ayan, 4,814,880 pesos. Ang market price, 939,360. So ang difference, because, and I would like to ask Colonel Laborte, ang lumalabas dito, ang overpriced ninyo, yung ma-incur na losses ng government, kung natuloy ito, because this is an awarded contract, but not procured, kasi napigil, hindi na-implement. As a matter of fact, I think one of the board members, sino yung, kasi napirmahan na ito eh. And then, medyo pinunit yung mga pages na pirmado kasi alam niya sasabit. Look, 62,000 pesos. Na presyon ito, yung galing sa unit price ng IAG ICT report do sa ISSP, 441. Yung unit price as per IT clearance from IMS, 420. Yung unit price sa bid price, yung SBAC, sabi lang, nakatipid kami rito kasi 320,000 lang ang bibili namin sa halip na 420. Pero a simple checking, Google lang, no? Doon sa mismong website ng Cisco, and lumalabas $1,224. I-51 to 1 mo na lang yung exchange rate, that's roughly 62,000 pesos. So, nanakawan na naman yung gobyerno, yung pera ng PhilHealth in the amount of 3.8 million pesos. Alam mo, masyadong blatant, masyadong brazen. Hubris ang tawag dito. Na ganitong kalaki yung overprice, hindi na natatakot na mabubuko. Alam nyo, yung here and there, 5%, 10%, pwede siguro ipikit na natin yung hindi lang sa mata, siguro 2 mata, pero my God, 3.8. Tapos hindi pa yon. Nakabox pa yung 24 units, magpo-procure pa uli ng 15 units. Saan gagamitin? Nakabox pa nga, sabi ng COA eh. As of January 31, 2020, nakabox. Ito naman procurement na ito, August, I think 20 of 2019. Kasi kung nakabox ito ng January 31, 2020, nakabox pa rin ito ng August 20, 2019. So this is not the first time that an IT equipment procurement is fraught with anomaly. So, rightly so, yung board, medyo alanganin sila. Kasi pwede rin sila makulong kung sakaling pipirma sila. Because pag pirma mo dyan, nandyan ang signature mo. And that's the reason why nakalimutan ko lang yung pangalan ng nagpirma doon sa award. Ano? And then he or she was very, was just being careful to punitin yung, I think 6 pages yun eh. Kasi nakapirma siya doon. Kasi pagka nakalusot yun, sasabi siya doon. And I'd like to ask Colonel Laborte, I think he's knowledgeable on this issue, about this issue. Colonel Laborte. Colonel Val, are you there? Ngayon, yung 15 units na nabibilin pa ulit, overpriced pa ulit. Yung binili noong I think this was 2018 procurement, yung 24 units, overpriced pa rin yun eh. As I said, pag dinivide mo yung 74.3 million divided by 24 units, magkano yun? 74.3 million divided by 24 units. Attorney Labe, meron ka bang calculator? I want to hear it from you. 24 units. Network switches. O 3 million, 3.09 million pesos per unit. Tapos nung kinanbas yung ipoprocure na naman, na meron ng notice of award, lumalabas 62,000. Nasaan na yung kaluluwa ng mga gumagawa nito? Go ahead.
Sir, I think yung nire-refer ni BM Kabady kanina sa vision sa board, these were budget proposals. These were not
I
contracts.
know. But i-discuss nyo pa ba yung ganung budget proposal? And I'm referring to this particular item.
Opo.
This was already awarded.
Yes, this is over. Award na ho ito.
O wag na muna, kalimutan na muna natin yung mga budget proposal. Ito, procured, nasa bodega, nakabox. Bibili pa uli ng 15 units, overpriced pa rin, nakabox pa nga yung 24 units. Kindly explain because,
Sino kayong nag-alam niya?
we ourselves cannot understand who would have the heart or the conscience to procure such item or items? Oh, wala na makasagot.
Sir, yung mga items kasi if it's okay to be given kung ano yun so that we can explain also.
Record nyo ito eh.
Po,
Ito sa inyo nang galing ito.
yes
Sa
po, may
PhilHealth.
mga,
Huwag mong hingin sa akin kasi kayo nagbigay
Yes.
sa akin ito.
ah,
Hindi ikaw.
hindi ako.
Pero PhilHealth ang nagbigay sa akin ito. Kaya huwag mo kong hingan sa inyo galing ito.
Sige po, sino po nagbigay?
I won't tell you, but galing sa PhilHealth because these are official documents.
Sige po, sir.
Even the COA report. Ito maliwanag. Meron niyang... Anyway, kindly explain.
Sa,
Colonel Laporte, we want to hear from you.
Colonel Laborte is not logged in right now, but Attorney Kit would like to
Yeah,
respond to
please,
your
Attorney
question. So Attorney Kit, you are recognized.
Sir, yung tanong po sir ni Senator Lacson sir na yung pumunit po dun sa 6 na pages sir, si Brigadier General Augustus Boy Divilla po sir, siya po ang pumunit doon sir kasi alam niya po na maanomalya yun sir. So pinunit niya po yun sir sa harap naming dalawa ni Colonel Balaborte sir.
Villa, kindly respond. Did you actually...
Sir, noon time sir wala po ako natandang pinot. Pero tinago ko po kasi I was informed by Colonel Laporte na mataas nga raw daw sir yung presyo.
Sila mataas, sobrang taas.
Opo. So sabi ko, ay pag ganyan medyo malabo yan. Kasi yun nga sir, yung in my 30 years of military service in the military medical officer po ako. Napakaingat ko po kasi sa ganyan sir, lalo yung procurement. I never allow that. So sabi ko, ay dapat tanggalin. Tsaka hindi ko pa naman time nung binibidding yan. I'm only 9 months in Philhealth sir.
Can you produce those documents? Kasi sabi mo, hindi mo naman pinunit, itinago mo. So where is it now?
Sir, I believe it's still existing pero hindi ko na po matanda kung nasaan sir.
No.
Sir.
Hindi pwedeng ganyan sagot.
Opo, sir. Yes, sir, I will try to find out, sir. But siguro, sir, baka na kasi every morning, Attorney Kit, Torson, and Monday to Friday, sir, parating nasa office
Would
kaya
you like the committee of the whole to issue a subpoena? So you'll be compelled to submit
Yes, sir.
the document to the committee. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I so move, Mr. President,
Sir,
that the document mentioned should be submitted to this committee.
All right, hearing no objection, the Senate Secretariat will issue a subpoena to Sistecom
yes, sir.
for the documents mentioned. You may proceed. By the way, Senator Lacson, you're 18 seconds to go, but Senator Lapid is giving you his 5 minutes. So you may continue.
Bakit 5 lang? Anyway, thank you, Mr. President. Moving on, IRM. Merong listahan ng mga hospitals. I think there was an issue circular number 2020-0007. Ang mother or yung reference, yung parang progeny, sabihin natin, yung pinanggalingan ng, I don't know if it's the right term, but yung pinanggalingan dokumento doon, several issuances. Yung sinasabi, pagka yung fortuitous events ang sakop, like nung nagkaroon ng Undoy, merong similar issuance, PhilHealth circular din, ibang number, ibang series. And again, during the Marawi siege, nag-issue rin. Now, ang talagang intent ng interim reimbursement mechanism, it is a special privilege for the provision of substantial aid to an eligible HCI, healthcare institution, directly hit by a fortuitous event with a clear and apparent intent to continuously operate para ma-rebuild, para hindi ma-hamper yung kanilang operation, binibigyan ng interim reimbursement under the IRM mechanism or policy, binibigyan ng pera. But eventually, when you issued 2020 circular number 2020-0007, ito na yung COVID-19. Bakit parang nag-deviate dun sa intent ng IRM? parang nasama na yung COVID patient. Wala doon eh. Rebuilding their critically damaged healthcare system na yung lumabas. Samantalang calamity, Marawi Sage, man-made or natural, yung intent. Kindly explain why you deviated from the original intent of that circular. Yes, please.
Yes, Mr. President, Senator Lacson. The purpose of the IRM in this case was to respond to the fortuitous event of the COVID-19 pandemic. At that time, and even today, we do not know the extent and how long and how deep the pandemic is going to hit. So it was a preemptive move to provide the hospitals with funds so that they could respond to the pandemic if and when it happens. So ang fortuitous event po dito, yung pandemic, to keep them operating. Yun po ang...
Okay, granting without accepting. Payagan na natin. Nag-deviate na kayo doon sa yung assistance dahil sa fortuitous event. Pumunta na tayo sa COVID-19. Ano ngayon ang basis for the master list? I understand that the master list came from the central office. Did you consult the regional vice presidents? Did you consult the hospitals concerned? May consultation ba or unilateral ito on the part of central office to prepare a master list of hospitals or HCIs, not hospitals alone?
Initially, we work with the master list. Everybody, level 1, 2, 3 hospitals, those who were COVID capable. In other words, they have the isolation wards, they have the equipment to treat COVID. And then later on, we scaled it back because we found out that yung incidence ng COVID, merong home clustering. So we limited it doon sa mga areas na mataas ang incidence. But during the initial phase na hindi natin alam kung saan tatama ang COVID, marami yung hospitals ang nakakuha ng IRM. Ngunit ang sinigurado ho namin na bawat province, city o region, yung mga referral hospitals at yung mga clinics ay makakatanggap ho ng IRM. Ngayon meron ho mga areas na because mabibilis yung kanilang administrative efficiency, na process ho nila yung kanilang IRM transaction. Habang yung iba ho, it took some time. So yun ho ang dahilan kung bakit hindi nagkasabay-sabay.
Itong PhilHealth Circular 0007 2020 series. Kailan nag-take effect ito? It was issued 20 March 2020. Ang tanong ko, kailan yung effectivity date? O kailan na-disseminate? Kailan na-release? I understand, for every issuance, merong karugtong ito, just like the law that we passed. Merong IRR. Ang tawag sa inyo rito, SOP. So when did the SOP take effect?
We will check our records.
Please. In the meantime, habang kina-check yung records, ang sabi nyo kanina, COVID capable. Di ba? Meaning, merong facilities to admit COVID patients. I will show you your releases. Yung na-mention ko sa opening statement ko. Brown Abitum Dialysis Center, Manila. There are 5 branches. Kindly flash it on the screen. There are 5 branches. 1 in Tondo, 2 in Quezon City, 2 in Tondo, 1 in Baguio City. Look, 45 million pesos released in a matter of, MOA received date April 15. By April 23, nag-release na kayo ng 15 million. Dialysis Center. Kinunan namin na sa website, tinignan namin yung picture, ni walang kama. Puro upuan. Ba't kayo magre-release ng 15 million? Sinong COVID patient na pupunta rin? And as a matter of protocol, and I think Dr. Mercado knows this, pagka-dialysis center, hindi pwedeng tumanggap ng COVID-19 patient. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh, paano kayo magre-release ng 15.8? What is the justification in releasing 15.8 million pesos to HCI B. Brown, Abitum Philippines Incorporated? At saka Suki eh. Look, ang total 45 million. Can you explain how this happened?
Opo. Nilapitan ho kami ng Nephrology Association. And they appealed to us that they were turning away patients because they were running short of funds. And sabi nila, many of their patients were already, some of them were already dying. This is what they told us. And there were several appeals to us from not only from...
Yeah, but they're not
This-
covered by IRM.
Opo. No, initially po,
Kasi in-stress na natin yung fortuitous event. Sabi ko, granting without accepting. Na sige, payagan na natin COVID-19, pandemic. Dialysis na ito eh.
opo.
How long, Dr. Susi, gaano ba katagal magpa-dialysis?
Matagal po eh.
Mga-
It could take years.
No, I mean one visit.
One visit, a few hours.
A few hours. Ito, nag-MOA ng April 15. So April 23, na-release yung 15 million. Don't tell me. Ganyan karami yung dialysis ninyo. Magkano isang dialysis treatment? 2,500? 3,000? Now, how can you justify 15.8 million released? Now, I want to find out who was responsible for releasing. Anong level ba ng authority to release funds under the IRM?
I think it's at my level po.
Your level. So you release this.
Opo.
Oh, kindly explain why you release 15 million.
Because they appealed to us that their patients needed to be taken care of. We have about
COVID?
50,000 dialysis patients.
No, we're not dealing with dialysis. We're talking of COVID-19.
Opo. But they said that these are people with comorbidities.
Anak ng baka. Look, okay. Iwanan natin muna itong dialysis center. Maternity care provider. Ito yung after birth na ito, Dr. Susi, di ba? Kasi pagka yung maternity care provider, nakapanganak na.
Pwede sir na manganganak pa lang.
Okay. Sabihin na natin ang anak. 226 million pesos. IRM releases as of June 9, 2020. Napakasuswerte naman nila lang nitong maternity care package na ito na providers na, you know, 226 million? And you also cost the release of this amount? Why?
Because
226 million. And yet, Hospital ng Maynila, appeal sa inyo, public hospital, 19 million lang sinisingil. Hanggang ngayon hindi nyo binabayaran. Punong-puno na sila dun. I talked to the city administrator. I asked him, meron na reimburse na ba kayo, nabayaran na kayo? Kasi I read in I think it's a news article, merong human interest story doon. Naglalakad yung buong hallway, puro may COVID. Natatakot yung healthcare worker. Puno na raw. Wala siya magawa kasi kailangang i-treat niya. And yet, hindi nyo nare-reimburse. Despite so many appeals. My time is up, Mr. President. I'll just do my second round later.
sir,
Yeah, please answer.
according to our
Yes,
records,
sir.
we released to the Hospital Manila June 23, 19.3 million.
Well, you better check your records because I just asked Mr. Cesar Chavez from the Office of the Mayor, and he submitted to me the report only last night.
We'll have to check off because according to our
Anyway,
records,
kindly,
June 23.
we go back to the question. Maternity care provider. Bakit re-release ng 226 million pesos?
well, they also appeal to us.
So lahat ng nag-a-appeal, binibigyan nyo ng pera.
Hindi ho lahat, hindi ho lahat.
O kaya nga, anong basis?
The basis of need po. They are operating.
Yeah. You have, Senator Lapid is giving up all his time to you. He has 3 minutes and 47 seconds left. Senator Lacson, you may continue.
Thank you, Senator Lapid. Yeah, please kindly explain fully and try to convince us that this is, this is proper. and legal. You have the floor.
Yes, sir. We have about 8,500 healthcare facilities all over the country. And these are accredited with Philhealth, and they service our members. Now, under the COVID-19, we initially said that we will only focus on those that are COVID capable. But initially, the board approved about 27 billion, but they did not specify which facility would be covered by this. We started though with the levels 231 hospitals, and eventually we began to get a lot of requests from the dialysis clinics and the maternity clinics for releases, because according to them, they would be turning away their patients if we could not provide them this relief, which was the IRM.
It should be under another program. Ang pag-usapan natin, IRM. Pag sinabing IRM, COVID patients, ito pag-usapan natin. Huwag mo sabihin na nag-appeal kasi tina-turn away ng pasyente, wala silang pera. Ibang program yan, huwag sa IRM. Meron naman kayo ibang program para dyan. Bakit sa IRM nyo charge?
Refer to our EVP, Mr.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Mr. President, Senator Lacson, ang purpose po ng IRM and the way it was designed is to respond to the pandemic, ano po, in this case nationwide, and it affects not just the level 1, 2, 3 hospital, pati na po yung ibang klase ng facilities, no, including maternity care at saka yung mga dialysis. Kasi po, ang role po namin is to provide funds. Kalimutan muna po na natin na may pandemic under normal circumstances. Ayan po ang papel ng Philhealth. Ngayon, pagka po ang buong bansa ay naapektuhan, napansin niyo naman po ng ang ospital at ang mga staff nila hindi po makakapunta sa ospital ang kompletong staff para mag-submit po ng kanilang mga dokumento para maproseso po ng PhilHealth para mabayaran. Yun po yung, kinukwento ko lamang po yung cycle. No? Ngayon,
Ang kwento mo nga, hindi nag-a-adapt eh. Kasi IRM, pag-usapan natin COVID. Ba't in-expand nyo na hanggang dialysis, hanggang sa maternity?
Kasi po...
abot tayo sa eternity pagka lahat sinama nyo na.
Kasi po, lahat po ng yan ay may tuloy-tuloy na pasyente.
No, we're dealing with COVID patients.
Ay, hindi po.
Sa IRM, because this is under the IRM program. Kaya nga tawag na, di ba?
Tama po
Interim
yun.
reimbursement mechanism. Ang pumayag na nga ako na, okay, wag na yung calamities, wag na yung man-made, saka yung natural calamities like Ondoy, Marawi. Sabi nyo, sakupin na rin kasi pandemic, parang calamity na rin. Okay. Sabi ko, without accepting, even, sige, granting. Pero in-stretch nyo pa ulit, lumampas pa kayo sa COVID.
Well, kasi po nga, ang response ng IRM is to continuously to provide the funds. Kasi po, kung dahil po sa pandemic, meron din pong mga administrative staff na hindi makakapunta sa kanilang mga lugar para mag-submit po ng claims kung yan po ay sa ospital. Pumunta naman po tayo sa opisina namin. Pagka po skeletal workforce, wala hong staff na magpo-proseso din ng claims.
I don't know who will buy your explanation. Yes, Attorney Del, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Lacson, sir. Sir, yung we have the notion that the IRM is only for reimbursement for COVID expenses.
Hindi nga reimbursement, advance na nga eh.
Opo. So hindi po totoo yun kasi yung liquidation po natin will involve all diseases. And the response of PhilHealth is for the whole pandemic. So this is not an advance payment for COVID patients. This is a financial assistance to all hospitals and healthcare providers that will need help in this time of pandemic. Hindi lang po yung mga hospital na merong COVID, yung apektado ng pandemic, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Bakit itong interim reimbursement mechanism nyo, which is IRM, bakit you are saying that this is only sanctioned by Section 3 of Republic Act 11469? Tama?
Sir, marami pong legal basis po yan. Kasi yung atin pong charter, RA 7875 as amended, has authorized the Philhealth Board to determine policies pertaining to provider payment mechanisms. Kung matatandaan po ninyo, yung ating universal healthcare mismo, we are shifting from reimbursement to prospective payment mechanisms, no? At under that charter of Philhealth, the Philhealth Board is authorized to issue policies that will efficiently and effectively result to better financing of healthcare services. So in the discussion of the executive committee, I remember vividly, General Bibilia asked whether the dialysis centers and other HCIs are affected by the pandemic. So we agreed that dapat kasama po sila kasi yung ating pong mga nagda-dialysis, hindi po sila basta-basta pwedeng pumunta sa mga hospital. Iniiwasan po yung mga hospitals and the dialysis centers and the other standing clinics need support from PhilHealth. Marami nga pong nagsara na dialysis dahil nga po, di ba, hindi na nila matugunan yung kanilang financing.
Attorney,
Yes, sir. Mr.
ang
President.
IRM talagang pang COVID-19, kaya nga reference binanggit ni Senate President, RA 11469, yung pinasa naming bayanihan.
One of the legal basis, Mr. President. But if you will read the board resolutions and the circulars, it does not pertain onto the COVID. Kasi sir, kung yung apektado po yung buong healthcare
Kaya
industry.
naubusan ng pera ng PhilHealth kung saan yung ginagastos.
Sir, para po yan sa mga hospital, para po yan sa mga miyembro.
Meron pa yung mga favorite hospitals and HCIs like the D. Brown, Abitum. Imagine.
Sir,
Yung iba, ang tagal-tagal
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
ang tagal-tagal nila nag-a-apply, nagre-request ng release ng pondo.
Sir, I don't know the details of that, but our regional offices
2 days na kasi.
evaluates the proposal.
Plus back
May mga application po yung mga hospitals eh. So, I'm not aware kung meron mga pinapaboran o hindi, but I'm sure that the RM is designed to help our healthcare system in this time of pandemic, Your Honors. Meron po mga regions na mabilis po mag-respond. Nung nilabas po yung guidelines, nag-apply po kagad yung mga hospital, in-evaluate ng regions, pinoward sa central office. So, nabilis po silang nabigyan ng IRM. Yun po yung...
Look,
Yes, sir.
attorney
Opo.
yung Quezon City, 2nd District pareho. Nakasingil sila ng isang 8.9 at saka isang 5.3 million Parehong-parehong date yung MOA, parehong-parehong date yung release. Hindi ba sindikato yan?
Magaling po yung regional vice president sa NCR.
Magaling kayo mag-release ng pondo sa gusto nyo releasean. That's the point. Yes, Dr. Susi.
Thank you, Senator Lacson. I just want to say na in the minutes of the board of March 31, we already called attention to management about prioritizing the hospitals and to follow the epidemic. Kasi po nung nag-present po sila, pinakita po nila Area 1, Area 2, Area 3, Area 4 na samantalang nung panahon na yon, malinaw na namamatay na yung mga doktor sa NCR. Meron pong mga hospital na punong-puno na ng nagkakasakit po yung mga health workers. Pero ang napaprioritize kung sino po yung unang makapagbigay ng kontrata. So, nagsuggest pa kami noon na, and the issue was, parang wala masyadong tao sa Philhealth daw kasi because of the pandemic. I even suggested that we get volunteer accountants or business students to help those big hospitals process their IRM contract. Kasi sa tindi po nung sitwasyon nung panahon na yon, yung po mga busy na hospital, wala po silang time na gumawa ng kontrata para po dun sa COVID. Pero natandaan ko, in one of the conversations, ang sabi po nila, eh hindi pa daw magawa yung NCR kasi nga nililista pa lahat ng mga lying in. Which is exactly your point, Mr. Senator. That the point of the IRM was really to support the hospitals that were already imploding
Yeah.
because of COVID.
Yeah.
So parang ano po lumalabas, meron pa nga kaming question dito no na ang una pong mga nabigyan ng pondo ay yung mga nasa Region 8. Now, I cannot verify that because they just
Yeah, because-
denied it.
Mr. Renel Limchaco is from Region 8.
Yes, sir.
Tama ba yun? Andito ba si Mr. Limchaco?
Mr. Senator, Mr. Chair,
Yes. Are you from Region 8?
magandang umaga po. Yes, sir. I am from Region 8, sir.
Yeah, I got it.
Can I give some information about what BM Sosi have said, Mr. Senator?
Go ahead.
Tama po si BM Sosi, Mr. Senator. It was discussed and based on the guidance ng board po during the time that nagprepresenta po tayo ng report ng IRM sa ating board, ay tinugunan po ng management through our President and CEO Morales. Sa katunayan po, ang ating IRM release as of July 31 po ay 14.97 billion. Ang 29% of which po ay nasa NCR Central, NCR North, and NCR South. So that's 29 billion po ang nai-release. Doon din po sa one of the areas na pinaprioritize po dahil sa initially marami ang natamaan po, ang Region 4A at saka Region 4B. That's 13% po. And ang Region 3 po, of is composed of our branch 3A and then 3B, na 13% po of the total IRM release po. So doon po sa sinabi ni BM Mercado po, yun po ang sinundan po ni President Morales kung saan po ilalagay yung mga pundo po natin. Salamat po.